Welcome to Unit 5, Integers and Rational Numbers Test Corrections. Our first question is Richard, Ronnie, and Rodney anxiously are awaiting the release of the movie Racing with Rabbits on DVD. However, in order to buy this movie, they had to save $28.24. If the brothers were going to split the cost of the movie evenly, how much would each of them need to save? So for this problem, we needed to divide the value divided by 4 people. So it's 24 divided by 4. Goes in there 7 times. Subtract, bring down. I'm going to put my decimal in my quotient so I don't forget. 4 goes into 2 new times. Subtract and bring down. 4 goes into 24 6 times. So they each need to save $7.06. Alright, next one. We have 8 2/10 times 6 4/10 plus 6/100. So our first order of operation is to take care of our parentheses. So 6.4 plus 6/100. We have to line up the decimal place when we are adding and subtracting decimals. So 6 plus 0 is 6, 4, and 6. So it'll be 6 46/100 times 8.2. So I'm going to go over here so to give myself some room. And when we're multiplying decimals, we just line up digits, and for now, we ignore the decimal place. So 6 times 2 is 12, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, 2 times 6 is 12. Next one, we're going over a place value, so we're going to put a placeholder there. 8 times 6 is 48, 8 times 4 is 32, plus 4 more is 36. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 3 is 51. Adding these up. And then we have to figure out how many place values. So 1, 2, there's 3 values after the decimal. So 1, 2, 3. So that'll be our final answer. Number 3, at noon the temperature is 6 degrees Fahrenheit, but the afternoon temperature drops 2 degrees per hour for the next few hours. What is the temperature at 4 p.m.? So we're going from noon to 4, which is equal to 4 hours. It was at 6 degrees at noon, and so I want to figure out that it's dropping for 2 degrees every hour. So it's going to be 4 times 2. So it drops 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So I need to do 6 degrees, and then I need to go backwards 8 degrees. So if I had a number line, if I had 6 over here, this is 0, I need to go back 8 places. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is 2 places away from 0. So that ends up being negative 2 degrees Fahrenheit at 4 o'clock p.m. So just using a number line to help you with that. Miss Fairfax went to the grocery store to buy groceries for dinner. She had to buy a loaf of bread for $1.89, beef for $5.69, and cheese for $2.99. She gave the cashier a $50. So how much change will she get back? So we have to add up the 3 values. Sorry. Okay, 27. So it's going to be decimal comes down when we're adding, subtracting, and now we need to take away this from the $50 to figure out how much money she gets back. So she'll get $39.43 back. Next question, place a rational number in the blank so that the three numbers are arranged in order from smallest to largest. So before I can solve this, I'm going to convert this into a decimal. So I know that 1 divided by 10 is the same as 5/10. So I can now compare this, and I can find a number that's in between 5 and 1/10 and 5 and 67/100. So any number between those two will work. So you could have 5.15 because 15 is in between 10 and 67. You could have 5 and 65/100. So anything between 10 and 67 on the decimal scale will work for you. So these are just a couple of the examples, and like I said, anything in between these two numbers will work, and of course they're negative. Don't forget that. The next one, order the rational numbers in descending order. So remember, descending means to go from high to low. And I'm going to go ahead and convert these to be decimals. So 7/9, so that's 7 divided by 9. Will be 63. So this is going to be a repeating decimal, I can tell. So I'm just going to stop here. And that's going to be 777 repeating. This one is 2/3, so I'm going to show you that this is going to be a repeating decimal as well. So as you can tell, this is going to be repeating as well. So I've got 0.66, I've got 0.666 because it is a repeating value. We have 7/10. I'm going to go, yeah, I'll leave it right there now. And then I've got 777 repeating. To make it easy, I'm going to go and add in 2 zeros for this one and 1 0 so we can easily compare. So now I can see that with that repeating decimal, it changes between this one and this one. You can tell those are two different values. They look similar, but this one's bigger. And since I'm going to go from high to low, I can tell that of these two, my 7 repeating is my larger value. So that's going to be first. This one will be second. Between these two, my repeating 6s will be larger than my 2 6s. So that's how you would go about solving that problem. Again, converting them to decimals. And that repeating decimal is an important thing. Write an integer for each situation. So this time we have a loss, so that means it goes down. So that'll be a -14. This one is 11 fewer ball players, so again that is a smaller value. So 11. Opposite of -27, so this is going to be on the other side of the number line. It'll be on the positive side, so this will be a +27. This is 12 feet below sea level, so again we're going down, so it'll be -12 feet. Next one is using the greater than, less than, or equal to signs to answer the following questions. -8 on the number line is closer to 0, so that is why it is compared to the other negative number. This one is larger. The absolute value of -6 is 6, and the absolute value of 75 is 75, but there is a negative sign there that stays with it. So my 6 is a larger value than -75. Next one, we have a positive number and a negative number. So that means that my positive number will be larger. And finally, there should only be one negative. Sorry about that. That's a typo. So let me cross that off. So this one will be 53 0.96 is the absolute value of that one, and then bringing down the sign. So it'd be a negative 53 and a negative 53, so these will be equal values. So again, sorry about that typo. Over here we have which number is farther away from 0. Circle 1 in each pair. So we have absolute value of 75, which means it is 75 spaces away from 0. And this one is 67 spaces. So this one is further from 0. This one is negative 68, so it is 68 spaces. And this one is 69, so this one would be further away from 0. And again, just a different way to ask the question is which number has the greatest absolute value. Circle 1 in each group. So this means, again, basically the same as this one, is which one is further from 0. So negative 35 is further from 0 than any of these two. And then negative 47 is further away than either of those two. So these two will be our answers for that problem. Next, we have to convert these into fractions, decimals, and percents. I'm going to start here with 2/9 and do 2 divided by 9. And I think I just did this problem. Sounds familiar, but maybe not. So this is going to be a repeating decimal, I can already tell. So this is going to be 0.222. Repeating. So my percent will be moving my decimal 2 places to the right. So that's going to be 22.2%. For this one, I'm going to go to percent first, so it's going to be 2 places to the right. So that'll be 609%, because that's going to the right. And to make it a fraction, it's going to be reading this number out loud, so 6 9/10. So that'll be 6 and, sorry, not 9/10, 9/100. 9/100, and those can't be simplified because they don't have a common factor. Finally, we have percent to decimal. So I'm going to go ahead and move my decimal 2 places to the left. So that's going to be 372 thousandths as my decimal. And to go from decimal to fraction, we have to read this number out loud and make it a fraction. So that's 372 thousandths. And I'm going to try dividing by 4. So that's going to be so because these don't have a common factor, this is the simplest form as well. Finally, it says use the number line below and place the following rational numbers accordingly. So I have 5/6, -6/8, 98/100, 2 1/10, and -1/4. So I know that my numbers don't extend more than 3 in either direction. So I'm going to go ahead and make my number line. And I can go ahead and place 2.1 pretty close to this one. So that'll be 2.1. 98/100 is almost 1 whole. It's 98 pennies, so I'm going to put it right there. So that's 98/100. Next I have 5/6. So because I'm not sure if it's on the left or right of the 98/100, I'm going to convert this into a decimal. So that's going to be 5 divided by 6. And here I can tell that it is going to be smaller than 98/100, which was what I thought it was, but I just wanted to double check. So it's going to be 0.833, which means it'll be to the left of my 98/100, right there. Probably a little bit closer this way, but that's okay. Actually, let me go and fix that. Sorry, it's hard to place it in there. And that's 0.83 hundredths, and that's repeating. Next, we have 6/8, -6/8, which simplifies to 3/4. So I know that this is between 1 and -1, sorry, 0 and -1, but it's going to be closer to -1 than it is 0. So it'll be 3/4 away. So that'd be -6/8. And our last one is -1.4. So 1.5 would be halfway. So it's going to be a little bit to the right of your place value. So that's your last question.